Hello everyone and welcome back. Today I will be sharing an extremely good line against the English attack in the Najdorf Variation. Now most of you may know the Najdorf Variation is the biggest line in the openings of chess, and it arises from the Sicilian defense. And the Najdorf Variation has its starting line that goes like e4, c5, knight f3, d6, d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, knight f6, knight c3, and a6. Now, I'm going to be teaching you something in black's perspective, so I have flipped the board. Most of you might know the Najdorf as this position. And here, white has many moves. The most common moves are bishop g5, bishop e3, bishop c4, and bishop e2. Today, I'll be showing you a weapon against bishop e3, which is an extremely popular move, and it's gaining popularity every single day, and more people are playing it. Against bishop e3, I have decided to teach you an extremely good weapon, which is playing e5. Now, normally a lot of players like playing e6, but this line is a lot sharper, and I wouldn't really recommend it. Instead, playing e5 is a better line because it keeps black's solid position, and although black will have a weak square on d5, there's no way really for white to exploit it. Here, white almost always plays knight b3. If white plays knight f3 after this, then that position just doesn't make any sense because white wants to play f3 in this line. In this case, white plays knight b3, and here black should play bishop e6. And after bishop e6, white almost always plays f3. Unless white plays bishop e2, and this means that white will transpose into a bishop e2 line, and white will castle short. But that is a different line, and I won't be covering it in this video. But after white plays f3, black normally plays bishop e7. But as you will see, h5 is also gaining popularity here. And after bishop e7, queen d2, black's main move is knight b7. And here, white usually plays something like long castles, and after rook c8, g4, and then this line goes on. However, this is not what I'm recommending. Remember how I said h5 was an extremely strong move against f3 back then? Well, after bishop e7 and queen d2, now I play h5. And this is the line that I want to be sharing. So, why should I play h5 now and not h5 here? Well, let's just go through the line first. So after black plays h5, white almost always plays long castles. After long castles, black plays something like knight bd7. And after this, white will play something like knight d5. And then here, as you can see, the computer doesn't like white now because of one big reason. Now, black does not take with the bishop like in normal Najdorf positions. Black now is able to take with the knight, because now the bishop is able to come to f5, and white does not have any g4 here. And here, white plays bishop d3, and now white is wanting to trade this amazing bishop, and black has to trade. And then here, black can play bishop g5. And now black will trade off white's amazing bishop here. And now white usually plays bishop takes, and after queen takes, white usually plays rook d2. And after white plays rook d2, black castles to avoid any danger, and after something like rook c1, black will play f5, and black's position is solid. Notice how black is developing on the king side this time, because black is able to advance all his pawns and control the important squares here, so white won't be able to have a king side attack. This looks extremely good for black. So what is the difference between h5 on the 9th move instead of h5 on the 8th move? Well, let's go through the same line again. So here, white will play queen d2 usually. However, in this case, after h5, the best move for white is knight d5. And the main reason behind this is because after black takes with the knight, white takes with the pawn, and bishop f5, bishop d3, bishop takes, queen takes, knight d7, and long castles. Notice the difference between this position and the difference between this position. Notice how black has his bishop on e7 in this position, but he doesn't have his bishop on e7 in this position. this position gives white an extra tempo. And if you notice even clearly, white plays queen d2 in this position. And then white captures using the queen on d2 to capture on d3. If you play h5 immediately, white, after all this, white uses the queen on d1 to capture on d3. So in a sense, white is saving a tempo for not playing queen d2, when black is actually using this tempo to play bishop e7, luring the white queen to d2 and then playing h5. This is the beauty behind this line, and that is why I'm recommending this line to you guys. And because of this, there aren't a lot of ways to play, because almost everyone plays long castles, and this line is the exact same line where black is up a tempo. Notice how the computer likes black now, because white doesn't have much to do. However, long castles, although being the main line, isn't the best move. The best move is to play knight d5 immediately. The reason behind this is after black does all the same thing, white doesn't play bishop d3. White keeps his bishop here and just plays bishop e2. Now the queen on d2 is actually going to be functionable. And the whole point of this line is that white wants to castle short and play c4. So after black plays something like knight d7, white castles short, rook c8, and here white plays c4. And this is the whole point of this line. White wants to break through with c5 and actually castle kingside. However, almost 99% of the time, you're not going to be seeing this position arise, and even so, this position isn't even that good for white, because black has this move knight c5, which looks dubious at first, but almost always white will take. If white doesn't take, then there isn't really much to do for white, and basically white is safe. Like if white finds knight a5, then he's going to be better, but for your opponents, they're almost always going to take, and then you can take bishop d5. You'll put your bishop on d6, for example, after rook d1, bishop d6, and now you're going to have a 4 versus 3 majority on the king side. However, if your opponent is a lot experienced, then it's best just to castle here, and then you're going to need to find correct moves, because after white has deviated, white has many more options. So knight d5, which is already an extremely rare move, and then your opponent needs to find knight a5 after you play knight c5, or if you're solid, just play castles and play a normal position. This means that this line is extremely rare, because white almost always plays castles. Another move that white can play after h5 is just playing bishop e2 immediately. However, in this line, black can just play knight d7, and after white castles, black can safely castle here. And this is a bishop e2 line where white has played f3 already. And this means that white will have to delay playing f4. If white plays f4 right now, black can take and play his knight to e5. And this position is good for black, because now black has all his pieces centralized in one spot. And if black is going to try to play for something more, black can also play rook c8 here, and now black is going to play bishop c4 before playing knight e5, because normally after knight e5, white threatens knight d4. However, usually black is safe after queen d7 and just sacrificing the bishop pair, and this is no exception. Black is fine here, but if you want to be even more cautious and have a better computer evaluation, you can always just play rook c8, because now white is playing f3 and then f4, and h5 is never a bad move. So these are all the 3 main lines in this line of the Najdorf. And one more extremely important thing that I need to say is that when you're playing against someone playing bishop e3, sometimes they won't even pay attention. They might just pre-move castles long. And after they pre-move castles long, they're going to try a lot of different things. Knight d5 is just one example. White usually sometimes plays h3 to continue with his plan, but now you play h4. And then you force so that white can't really push his pawn up. And now if white wants to try something like bishop g5 and trying to get the position, as you can see now the computer doesn't like white's position, and you can play b5 and you can start breaking through with your pieces. This is basically an English attack, except white is going to be delayed playing g4 because of h5, which is an extremely strong move. So in conclusion, if you're playing against this line, just play a traditional English attack, but after white moves his queen to d2, play h5 to stop any g4 threats, and then just play normally. If white is not careful and plays long castles, then you're going to be able to save an extra tempo because white will be taking the bishop with his queen, which is already on d2. And then after bishop g5, you gain that extra tempo to exchange off white's most important minor piece. And now you are going to be in a good position after all this. So that is an extremely sound repertoire against bishop e3. And if you didn't recommend it, or if you haven't tried it yet, you should better try it. And then sooner or later, you will recommend this line for yourself, and maybe you will have great success with it. Okay, so that's it for today, and have a great day, everyone.